Hey guys, I'm Ben Bateman.
And I'm Andrew Guy.
And we are
the Action Guys!
Yeah.
What?
I sang it.
Why?
I just tried something. I don't know. I wanted to do something different. Am I embarrassed or are you embarrassed for me?
Cut! We're cutting. We're starting
cutting
over.
the show.
Cody's in the booth. No. All right. We're here.
We're here.
We got another episode. We had a very interesting week in the sense that we got to go to a cool movie premiere.
Yeah, we did. We got to go to a screening invite. Marvel had us come and see Captain Marvel.
What was that movie again?
I'm tired.
Well,
it's our third show we're taping today.
It is. The reason that I think that's such a cool thing is because Marvel movies just have such a high demand. They're much more difficult to get into Marvel screeners. So
yeah. It's awesome, and you know that. So on this show, that we answer questions and talk about all the things in the action industry's world that we like to talk about. Yeah. We wanted to ask the question: who is the true queen of the MCU? And obviously, this conversation starts with the insanely polarizing responses to Captain Marvel as a film. I have to be honest with you; I don't know so far that I have seen a Marvel movie with as polarizing of a critic score. I don't get it. Yeah. Some people tweet that they think it's brilliant, super fun, great, a huge step forward for Marvel. Other people talk about this movie just not being good, and I don't quite understand it.
Yeah, and the other interesting thing about it is when, for some reason, every time I engage in a conversation with anyone about this movie and why I don't like it, it feels like we're not actually talking about the film. It feels like we're talking about something else.
It feels, yeah, right, exactly. It's like I'm talking about this movie because it's the 21st Marvel film, MCU film. I love the MCU. I have a huge amount of investment in it. I'm excited every time one comes out.
I'm talking about story structure, characters I care about, moments in the film, emotional, all these things.
I found that a lot of the MCU movies that I like the most have all the qualities that I like, and I'm looking for those in this movie. But what ends up happening is, like, one group of people wants to talk to me about the fact that, like, it's this more obscure character, so because they're doing great things with this thing that's off the page, it's incredible, and you should respect that. And it's like, okay, I have 6,000 comics in my mom's basement.
Right.
I absolutely know Marvel comics. I know them well. I know this character. Doesn't make the movie good. And other people want to talk to you and you say you don't like it. It's like, well, it's the first female-led Marvel film, so you should like it. It's like, I respect that. Yeah. I'm supportive of the movie. I want this movie to succeed for social reasons, but if it's not a good movie, I'm not going to give it a good review. I just don't feel that way.
I adored Wonder Woman. I did not like Captain Marvel, and the same kind of conversation happened when Wonder Woman came out. It was the same thing.
So it's a frustrating conversation to engage in, and it got us really thinking about, like, the female characters in the MCU. There are a lot of sweet ones. Yeah. Who's our favorite? Who do we think is the most awesome?
And like, why? What is it about them that makes them our favorite? What is it about them that makes them the most awesome and our favorite? And I was thinking, one of the things about it is the Marvel effect. So there's this thing about Marvel movies, right? They're fun, they're engaging, there's cool action, they're funny, they're intelligent. There's all these things that you kind of expect. And when you go through and you look at every single person who's been cast in the Marvel universe, I basically feel like everyone who is a hero or a protagonist has been cast perfectly, and they have this Marvel effect until we got to Captain Marvel.
And you and I differ a tiny bit on our feeling about her as the character. Yes. I think I like her a little more than you do.
You do.
But nonetheless, like, what I said in my review of the film was that I had issues with the structure. I didn't really like most of the characters, and that I feel like in the same way that I felt about Benedict Cumberbatch as Strange, I thought he was pretty good in his own movie. I really liked him in Infinity War. I felt like he shined in a team movie where he got to be around and bounce off other Avengers. I think she's going to have the same thing. I think she's going to be really good in Endgame.
And I don't disagree. And also, really quickly to everyone out there, we will not be spoiling Captain Marvel by any means. So if you're worried about that, don't worry. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. Turn up that dial. Before we hop into actually ranking the queen of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Ben, where can the folks find you?
Guys, you can find me personally at Ben Bateman Media. We have a Twitter for this brand. It's called @TeamActionShow. Go follow it. Do you want me to sing that? Maybe? No?
I don't. You guys can find me at Andrew Guy. You can also find our Instagram at Action Industries, and please go and find our Facebook page, Action Industries. Give it a like. We would absolutely love to see you on that page. And to remind you guys, we have full episodes of the Action Guys available on audio. You can go to Apple Podcasts, Podcast One, Spotify, and get those full episodes. Download them, comment, like, subscribe on these videos, but also on our YouTube channel.
Yeah, you guys can find Action Industries on YouTube. We're the full episodes there. You get them early, actually, if you subscribe to patreon.com/teamaction. At the $5 tier, you guys get these episodes the day that the audio drops on Fridays. We put up the full video then as well. But if you just want to watch them when you want to watch them, they come out the next Tuesday publicly for everybody anyway. So go check out patreon.com/teamaction. There's a behind-the-scenes reaction, actually, for our match last week that Drew and I played in the Schmodown. We actually put aside our petty differences as characters and decided to do a behind-the-scenes reaction like we used to do in the days of yore, and that's the thing. So you go check that out, and otherwise, Action Industries, a huge thank you to the entire team that we have on board that are working with us to make this brand get bigger and do awesome things. I think we should probably just get into to what we're going to talk about here, the definitive ranking of all of the women, the female super women of the MCU. And actually, that's important to define.
I like that you threw that little adjective in there.
Super?
Yes.
Yes. So it starts with Aunt May. No, just kidding.
No, all the super hot, according to Robert Downey Jr.
All the characters on the list are characters that either have superpowers, have a super suit, or have been in some sort of superhero-ish situation.
Yeah, and also they have to have like a substantial amount of screen time, because there's a handful of characters that we really love, but we don't want to just list every character in the universe. So we've got a list of 11 here. We've got a couple honorable mentions in Aunt May, in Hela, in Lady Sif, Nakia, all of the Carters, whether it be Peggy or her daughter, whose name is escaping me.
Sharon.
We've also got Maria Hill, and of course the lovely Natalie Portman as Jane Foster.
Jane Foster. Yeah, so these are some of I think the one that stands out here to me is Hela, because I'm a big fan of her. I thought she was awesome.
You and I love Hela more than anyone else.
No one else likes that character.
I actually watched Ragnarok again the other day, and she's just such a badass.
Yeah, she's sweet.
She's smoking hot.
Yeah.
And she's took incredible care of herself.
Oh, Cate Blanchett?
The fact that
Cate Blanchett is a living legend. She is like... I can't even get enough Cate Blanchett. Huge fan.
And the fact that she's the villain in a Marvel movie at her age, like just doing what she does, the fact that she's a badass, the fact that she catches Thor's hammer and crushes it with one hand, and I'm just like, yep, because that's what Hela does.
Here's my question to you, and I don't think I know the answer to this question, or if I do, it's going to escape me. The earliest thing I can remember watching Cate Blanchett in that she was like legit was The Aviator, and that was 2004.
You're missing Elizabeth's. Both of those Elizabeth movies were massive.
Is that the 90s?
Yeah, the first Elizabeth I used to watch my art history class in high school. My teacher was obsessed with it, and she got an Academy Award nomination for
And then
that.
Elizabeth, the Golden Age.
The Golden Age,
which was a few years later.
And the first one is her and Jeffrey Rush, I believe.
Yeah.
And that was where she got her breakthrough, I think.
So I couldn't remember that. So yeah, but
I shouldn't have told you that.
I agree with you on every level about Cate Blanchett as Hela. Just a huge fan. When we did our review of that one, I know we were both big fans of her. She just really does not go wrong. She's like one of the most talented actors on the planet. So
right. And remember, guys, this list is completely subjective. This is literally just Ben and I talking about who we like to see on screen the most, who we think is the most badass, who we think has the greatest trajectory moving forward in the MCU. So at number 11, to kick it off, our least favorite of the super women.
I mean, but still, number 10, still sweet. Or 11?
11. It's 11. It's Mantis.
Yeah. I was going to try to do a Mantis impression now.
Don't do it.
It's bad. It's not. It's all bad.
For those of you that don't know, Ben's mother's sitting in the room. She's nodding her head in agriement.
Yeah.
Don't do
that.
Mantis impersonation.
Yeah. Mantis is a funny character. She's good comic relief.
She's great comic relief. I almost love the comic relief that Drax adds just talking to Mantis more than I like Mantis.
First appearance, Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Yeah.
A really underrated MCU movie, but there's so many good ones now that it's...
It's tough. Why is Mantis number 11 for us? Is it because she's kind of annoying? Is it like for me, I wanted to get her lower. I've heard not the greatest things about her on set.
Oh, interesting.
And that just bothers me when I hear stuff like that.
For me, Mantis, the reason she's a little lower for me is that I think that she's a nice comic relief touch character. I think but I wouldn't want to see a Mantis movie. I wouldn't want to see a Mantis show.
I would not want to see a Mantis movie or show. And I argue that she should be higher on the list because she's actually the one that subdues Thanos for as long as she does. However, and honestly, the fact that she is able to do it to Ego as well when he's a god, essentially, I find that very impressive, but I don't want to watch a Mantis movie. I don't want to watch a Mantis origin story. I don't even want her to have more screen time, honestly. I think she's just the perfect amount.
So, next up on the list, if we get a little closer to the sweet ones.
Yeah.
Okoye.
So awesome.
Danai Gurira.
Yeah.
Formerly of The Walking Dead. She's so sweet, both in Black Panther and in Infinity War.
Yeah.
She has great moments in Black Panther. She's fierce. She's awesome. like she is tough as shit.
I feel really bad for the actress they replaced from Civil War.
Oh yeah,
she's like move or I will move you to Black Widow or whatever.
Is
by the
she
car.
supposed to be?
I think that's supposed
the
to be
same
a
character.
I think so. I could be completely wrong,
Okay.
but I thought I'd heard that. But yeah, she's a badass. She's awesome. I just really like her as an actress. I loved her on The Walking Dead. When I saw her pop into this, I was like, what a perfect place for you to fit into.
Yeah. It's a great role. She's great. She looks great with the bald head.
She doesn't need, that's a tough thing to pull off for anyone.
Yeah.
But again, I don't really care to see her more than I've seen her already.
Yeah, what is her line to Daniel Kaluuya? I'm trying to remember in Black Panther.
Oh, when she's talking about my love and all those things and how she would
says, and it's like Neil or whatever. Is that what happens?
It's something about like, she basically says, for my king, I'll kill you, or something like that I just love. There's just no qualm. I have no qualms with sticking you.
Yeah.
It's the mother of my child.
Yeah.
That's forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Yeah.
So moving on next, number 9, The Wasp.
Yeah, Janet Van Dyne.
Evangeline Lilly.
There's so many things I want to say that are good about the Wasp. There's so many things I want to say that are favorable about her.
Yeah, she's great.
She just doesn't really stand out to me. She's good enough. She got jacked for it. Like,
she's great in the movie. Ripped. Like I actually love her chemistry with Rudd. I love her chemistry with Douglas.
Yeah, I like both of the Ant-Man movies. They're both pretty good.
That's what's really tough about this list, right? We're not actually saying who we don't like. We're just saying who we like a little bit more just because.
Yeah.
And again, with this, I think everyone else on this list just has like a closer place in my heart. I would love to see the next Ant-Man movie go a little darker. I know that that's the opposite of what they want, but I just never feel any stakes when I watch it.
We're going to see Ant-Man in Endgame.
Yeah,
we know that. So he's going to probably have to do something pretty heroic.
She's probably not in it, right? She probably got snapped out, you would think.
Maybe.
If one of them did.
Yeah, or maybe they're both in it. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
What I can say about Evangeline Lilly that's really interesting is that Evangeline Lilly came out in Lost. That's where she got famous from.
Yeah, she's Lost, and then she was in the Hobbit movies.
Yeah, but I mean, like, if you think about it,
that was a long time ago.
She comes out in Lost, and that's like, when's it Lost? Like 2004?
Yeah.
Right? Like 2004-ish?
15 years ago.
So it's weird, like nowadays, if somebody was really big on like the biggest show on TV, like if somebody was a star on This Is Us, for instance, or somebody was a star on like Game of Thrones or something, and there was a Marvel movie coming out, it's a place that fits where you would take that star and you would cast them in a big MCU movie because they have this big credibility, everybody wants to watch them. It's weird to think that she was the star of Lost, and she really didn't get famous, like non-TV famous, for like another 10 years. Like, she was super duper Jennifer Aniston Friends famous, but she wasn't like movie star famous.
Isn't that so weird? And it's still just as relevant now. But yeah, that level of being like, I'm famous on TV as opposed to being famous in movies is still astronomical, the gap.
I mean, they were getting over $1 million an episode on Lost. I mean, it was a massive show. By the time that show was ending, 2010, 2011 or whatever, it was, and the Hobbit movies were kind of going into production.
Yep.
But like, she doesn't come out as a character in Ant-Man until like 2015. That's like over 10 years after Lost premieres. It's just crazy to think, because even in the Hobbit movies, I mean, that's a big
21 things.
Yeah, she's just
that's it.
She at one point she said she was kind of done acting. I remember.
Yeah.
So
yeah, Freddy vs. Jason, the Lizzie McGuire movie, White Chicks, The Long Weekend, Hurt Locker. She's the
right.
Yeah.
She's the wife, and Sienna Miller's the wife in American Sniper, right?
Yep. The Hobbit, Ant-Man. Yeah, just absolutely crazy. I mean, that's the definition of like you can never give up, right? You go from being one of the most famous people in the world, period, and then no one cares about you for like almost 2 decades.
Yeah,
which is insane. So the next one on the list, and my good lord, are we going to get ripped apart for this? It's the captain herself. It is
Marvel.
Carol Danvers.
I would, and it's possible I'd move her up a spot, but I don't think so. I have faith. I have faith as a character that by the end of Endgame, I'm going to move her up several slots because
I hope you're right.
I think she's capable with her powers they gave her, and she like looks cool in suit. And I actually, there was things about this character that I thought were interesting. Like they choose to make her kind of quirky and weird.
They try to make her the combination. Like I said this earlier, and correct me because you just know better than I do. But it felt like, from a film standpoint, she was the combination of if Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr., and Tom Holland Spider-Man had a daughter. that is what this person felt like. Kind of making jokes, kind of self-deprecating, talking shit while you're fighting people, but like throwing, because that's what Spider-Man does. You know, he's always doing that. RDJ's got his little like, he'll say things and then like smile and smirk. She did all those things so much, and I hated it every time. I don't know why I did.
They're just, like for me, what the issue with this character was like, she was powerful. She looked super badass at the end when she went like supernova, when she got all like whatever that power was called, or photon or whatever. Like she looked really cool and like,
but when that happened, I remember Greg Alba, our good buddy of the Real Rejects. He's like, when she went all like Super Saiyan and she got our powers, she went crazy. She looked awesome, and I realized I just didn't care.
Yeah.
Even though she looks awesome and I care about things looking cool, I didn't care about that.
Yeah, it was weird. I didn't quite understand. This could have been post-hype, unfortunately. Like, we're in a period right now where the expectation of a Marvel movie is just so high. I'm not sure. It's still too recent, and the jury's out. I think that's what I said to you during the movie.
Yeah.
We'll see. But as it stands now, I just don't think she's that great, and I think it's unfortunate because they're going to need new stars to keep this brand going
100%.
as their contracts are ending.
And she's someone who could carry the weight on her shoulders.
She was supposed to be one of the big ones.
So one thing I will say about this, if you asked me, I guess a year and a half ago, to rank the men of the Marvel Universe, Thor would have been in the bottom 3. He's now in my top 3.
You're saying before Ragnarok
and before Infinity War, he climbed astronomically.
Yeah.
So I do not put it out of Brie Larson's grasp to do that.
Thor 2 sucks.
Not a fan. Avengers 1 is fine. Avengers 2 is not good.
Yeah.
So it's the type of thing where in a year from now, I could be absolutely head over heels in love with Captain Marvel and Brie Larson's portrayal of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we're on the same page there. So
Next up.
leave your comments in the chat below and let us know what you think, unless you want to start a fight, in which case I'm not interested. So next up on the list, we have Nebula, sister to Gamora, mostly made of metal.
Mostly made of metal. Been tortured her entire life. Her turn in Infinity War, right? No, in Guardians 2 is what makes me like her.
Yeah.
You know, she becomes kind of a good person. You see that she's just like a hurt little sister. When she
named Karen Gillan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When she flies the ship into Gamora on Ego, you're just like, this crazy bitch.
Yeah.
Like, I think even Gamora says that, which is so hilarious because it's just like, but then there are moments when she's like, all I ever wanted was for you to just like love me or accept me as a sister.
Yeah.
The fact that she could go from where she started as Nebula to where she is now in my heart, she did such a great job, and her comedic relief in Guardians 2 is pretty great. All of the interaction with the dude that ends up taking over the claw thing.
Yeah. That's all great. And then like she has really good moments in Infinity War. Like I love obviously when she's getting torn apart and you like see all that. But then when she shows up on the planet and they've got Thanos in the headlock and she's like,
right.
They went to whatever it was, whatever that place is called. And they came back with a Soul Stone,
and not Gamora.
And she's like realizing that her sister's dead.
Yeah.
She has sweet moments, and she's going to be I think a key piece because she's up there with Tony, right? She's the only one.
Yeah, and I think the fact that Gamora's now dead, she has to be. She kind of has to take on that family legacy. She's the other daughter of Thanos, right?
We're like 5-6 weeks from watching this movie.
I know.
I can't. I'm like gonna lose my shit.
I think we're gonna do a top 10 moments from Infinity War and Endgame maybe on this show, but like we have to do like a whole.
We've been. I mean, this is the spoiler alert, but like we're talking about doing a live show in LA. We're setting it up now. And we're actually talking about doing a live meetup in Houston after our show. So there's a lot of cool stuff on the horizon there. Be sure to stay tuned for updates. The best place you'll get that information, guys, is on the patreon.com/teamaction. Let's keep going.
Yeah, Pepper Potts is next. This is a weird one because I was arguing that she shouldn't be on the list because she doesn't have superpowers, but then you reminded me in Iron Man 3,
Extremist. She gets it, and she gets laced with it, and she goes Super Pepper, which is actually probably the worst thing as a character she's ever done.
Absolutely, but her adoration for Tony in the first two, and his phone call to her in the Endgame trailer, and when he says goodbye to her in Infinity War, all those things are. She is the. Because don't you feel like the significant others have been pretty weak?
Yeah, I mean, Jane Foster is a big whiff. Like she hasn't been very good, and I definitely think that like we talked about both Carters. I actually think Peggy's better in First Avenger, but Emily Van Camp in the later movies in Winter Soldier's fine.
And
as
honestly,
Sharon
if
Carter.
we're just gonna cross universes here, I really don't like Amy Adams in the DCU.
Yeah.
Like it's just. This though, Pepper Potts is my favorite.
They crush it. Yeah, they absolutely crush it. Yeah, it's that's super unfair that like they as expected. That's like a bunch of like Supermen, and they're like bland female characters.
Yeah, which is
like
so lame.
Yeah,
Pepper Potts is the only one that has like a backbone.
Yeah, it's like you don't get the flip side where you have like the super badass female character and the regular guy who's their boyfriend. You know, like the best one ever is actually just when Jane Foster is on a date with with Richard from Thor: The Dark World.
Whereas in the DCU, they do such a great job with Chris Pine being the damsel in distress.
He's fantastic.
He's such a great damsel in distress.
And it shows you, it's like all you guys have to do is just like roll reversal and it works.
And cast
it's
people
fine.
that, yeah, exactly, and write it correctly. Yeah, so Pepper Potts, I really absolutely love. She's just been around for 11 years now. She's been there since day one.
Their chemistry in Iron Man 1 is so good.
It's so good.
I love when she's talking about the paintings, and she's like, he's got a representation of his early period, overpriced. Buy it, store it. I have to have it. Yeah.
Buy it, store it. I have to have it. Yeah. You mean, are you talking about when you left me on the roof in the rain? Yeah. I love that. Love those lines.
She's great. I need an olive, or I need a martini, strong, 2, 3 olives.
Yeah.
I just love her. I love Pepper Potts.
For as much as I like, I'm pretty sure I don't like Gwyneth Paltrow. I love Pepper Potts.
It's one of the things that's made me love Gwyneth Paltrow is Pepper Potts. It makes me sad that she's not going to be. She confirmed that she'll be in a cameo here and there, but she's not really going to be in the MCU anymore.
Done. What do we got next?
Next up, we have Shuri, which is Letitia Wright. She was a brand new character in Black Panther that had a great part of Infinity War, and she
was so mesmerizing every moment she was on screen.
She's great. She's funny. She's charming. She's witty. She's strong. She's got the sweet handguns.
She's like playing games with Black Panther. She's punking Black Panther. Like, who gets to do that other than his sister? And like the way that she does it, the fact that she's like one of the greatest minds of our entire race, I love.
She's like super duper smart.
They're like they're all talking about how to do something. She's like, well, why don't you just do this? And they're like,
oh, right. Yeah, and
because you weren't here. You know, just like all that stuff. I love when she finally gets like the blasters on her wrist.
Yeah.
It's pretty sweet.
I think the other thing that's sweet about Shuri, and I think I saw this in a meme when the thing first premiered, was this is my favorite Disney princess.
Yeah.
She's a Disney princess.
She really is truly a Disney princess.
Yeah, it's like her and Merida are the weird ones.
So cool.
Yeah.
A young, black, superhero Disney princess.
She's dope. I mean, she's awesome.
It's a good place to be.
You talk about not wanting to see a Mantis movie, I would watch the crap out of a Shuri movie.
Oh, I would watch crap out of a Shuri. And I would also watch the crap out of a Valkyrie movie. Yeah, number 4.
Valkyrie, the odd show stealer from Ragnarok.
It's so shocking that she's actually number 4 on our list, because the top 3, I'm pretty sure everyone can assume what they are. Maybe not the order, but the fact that she's in the top 5, number 4, she's so good in Valkyrie. I love that she's like a drunk. She's kind of like, rough around the edges.
She like falls off the ramp because she's drinking, and she like punks Thor pretty hard.
I love Tessa Thompson.
Yeah, me too.
She's such, I like, from Annihilation to Thor to Creed, I'm in love with her.
Big fan. Yeah, she's crushing it right now. Though I do have to say the Men in Black International trailer looked very bad.
Really bad.
Shockingly bad. Like
she shows up in the Endgame. She shows up in Endgame, I'm pretty sure. I feel like I've seen art with her, like post art with her, I think.
Interesting. Okay.
I feel like she should, but I'm not positive. I just love Valkyrie. I thought her chemistry with Hemsworth was great. She was able to give him crap back, like bounce back and forth, do the little zapper thing. And Tessa Thompson is just a delight to watch on screen.
She's great. Yeah, huge fan of Tessa Thompson. Big fan. Coming up, number 3, Wanda Maximoff, Scarlet Witch. Now, this is a good example when we talk about a character who is not good in our minds, like or medium in our minds, like Captain Marvel.
When she showed up in Ultron, I was like, whatever, why are you here?
Yeah, didn't care, didn't have a very good arc, was not written particularly well. By the end of this last movie, by the end of Infinity War, I love her. I am like a huge fan.
Same boat. I would have had her probably in the bottom 5 up until Infinity War. And it's only Infinity War. It's just that.
Yeah.
Where she just completely wins you over. Her relationship with Vision, their chemistry together is excellent.
Yeah.
And that final scene is heartbreaking.
So good.
It's so
good.
Oh
man, with the and she's doing the thing.
You are holding Thanos and destroying an Infinity Stone at the same time.
And he's looking at her. He's like, it's okay. Yeah. You could never hurt me. And you're like, oh God, you're breaking my heart. This is the best. And then she does it, and you're like, you win, and then it's just time. That movie's so good. I just want to watch it again.
When he rips out Vision's stone, One of the more brutal things in the whole movie.
That movie's. Why didn't Josh Brolin win all the Oscars?
Oh,
He should have won 17
at least
Oscars.
Nominated. I don't know.
I love Scarlet Witch, and I also love Jane Banner. See Wind River, guys. She's great.
She's so excellent. Yeah, and Elizabeth Olsen is also just someone who I would want to watch more on screen. I could see a Scarlet Witch, the origins tale. I'm happy to see the show. Whatever. I want more. Number 1 and number 2. This is the big 2. I mean, if you've been watching, you know who's left. It's Gamora and Black Widow. Why do we have who we have at second in second?
It's really tough because it's like this feels not even like 51-49. This feels like 50 and a half.
Yeah.
49 and a half.
So I'm going to chime in first then and say Black Widow is at number 2.
Yeah.
Because she should have died at the airport in Civil War.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
That's fair.
There's just
it's the Batman fighting Doomsday effect.
Exactly. There's moments where there's just times where I'm like, Black Widow and Hawkeye need to be dead in this scene. Yeah. There's no way they live. How do they survive all these things? Like when they're all running through the forest in Ultron, you're like, okay, so you've got a bunch of superheroes and then a normal person.
Yeah.
I would die instantly.
It's actually one of the things in Ultron, and it's funny because it's like you have to straddle the line between what is believable and what's not believable when you watch these movies.
Right.
And I remember watching the beginning of Ultron, the first 15 minutes, and just being like, this is stupid. I'm turning this off.
But when you watch the beginning of Winter Soldier, when you see her and Steve Rogers infiltrate the ship, right? Isn't that how it starts?
Yeah.
And you see the way that he does it and the way that she does it. It's completely believable.
It's just, she's like more of like a quick spy. She's really powerful, and she's got these cool weapons.
And he's a superhuman.
Yeah. And he can like kick people through walls.
Yes.
And they don't like try to put them in the same situation. And that's why it's brilliant. And that's why I think when she's done correctly as a character, she's amazing.
Right.
And dude, I don't know what the last time you went and watched Iron Man 2 is, but she's super sweet.
Oh, she's badass.
She's the only really good part, except for Mickey Rourke's hair.
I want my beard.
Yeah.
I want my beard. Which means we have Gamora at number 1.
Gamora is our number 1, the queen of the MCU, heartbreaking death scene in Infinity War.
I was crying.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We've heard stories from our buddy Matt, who's the AD on that movie, second AD, that day on set was just like very emotional.
Everyone was super somber.
It was crying and stuff. I mean, it's a great scene. It's great acting, and I really like Zoe Saldana a lot. I think she's pretty terrific.
I love Zoe Saldana. We were talking about when we covered Avatar on AMA that she's like the most famous actress in the world without being as famous as she should be.
Right.
You
I
know,
mean, 2 of her roles, it's like not really her.
Yeah. Avatar.
Yeah.
Which is arguably one of the biggest movies that was ever made. And then, of course, Infinity War, arguably one of the biggest movies ever made. She is the lead in both of them.
And she's like, she's blue and green.
Yeah.
Like she like looks like her in Star Trek.
Right.
Aside from Star Trek, like, if you're like glancing at the poster as a fan, you maybe recognize that it's her in Guardians, but you also might not.
Right.
She's a green alien. You might be like, I don't know who that is. I don't care.
It's so fascinating. But the reason I think we put her at first is because, like, the death scene is so heartbreaking. She has done so much for the MCU. And I would watch an Origins Tale on Gamora. I'd watch Zoe play her again. I am going to really, really miss her in Endgame. I'm sure they'll have flashbacks. I don't know if I would miss anyone quite as much as I'm going to miss her.
Oh, she's going to come back.
I know she will.
Yeah. That's a huge. I mean, I think we think we're all assuming that's what's going to happen. I love her like flashback to being a child scene when Thanos wipes out half her planet. She loses her parents.
Yeah.
Like they just do a great job with that character. She's tough. She's awesome. I love that she like balances out Pratt really well.
Her scene with her and Pratt. Of like basically telling him that that he has to kill her, and when they actually do it, it's so well executed, and she's just such a talented actress.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah,
agreed, man. So that's the list, guys. In backwards order, we've got Aunt May. No, we've got Mantis, Okoye, the Wasp, Captain Marvel, Nebula, Pepper Potts, Shuri, Valkyrie, Scarlet Witch, Black Widow, and Gamora as our queens of the MCU.
Yep.
We'd love to know what you guys think, and honestly, use this as a forum to share your thoughts. If I don't want to know if you think that we're dumb. I'm not interested in getting into a fight. But if you guys have different opinions about this list, if you actually thought that Captain Marvel was amazing and you want to let us know why in the comments,
please.
Love to know why, because there's tons of good reviews out there, and like I am just curious to know what the audience at large thinks. I have a lot of hope and faith in that franchise and that character to be able to pull things off in Endgame, and I would love to know what you guys think there. So Otherwise, patreon.com/teamactions, the third time I plugged it on the show. Check it out. We have cool stuff coming up there. We've got a brand new Patreon video going up in the next 24 hours.
Yep.
Might already be up by the time you guys hear this.
And, guys, go buy tickets for the Movie Trivia Schmoedown in Houston. Ben and I will be competing against one another. There are 700 seats there at Booker T's World Gym. I think there's actually only 600 seats available now, but it's in May. You don't want to miss it.
You don't want to miss it. It's going to be crazy. Drew and I are going to do some sort of an event, we think, so let us know if that sounds good to you. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll be back same time, same place next week.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.